This is a public service announcement. This is a travel advisory. This is an orange level terror threat for all Miami Hurricanes fans. Rivals are coping. Hey, rival fans are out here coping, dog, and you gotta be careful. Man, I got a Florida State fan at work who, with a straight face, looked me in my eye yesterday and said that Miami and Florida State are in the same boat. I couldn't do nothing but laugh. I laughed and thankfully I walked away. Because here's the threat, right? This is where you gotta be careful, Miami fans. Listen to me for a second. Rival fans don't have a whole lot to be excited about. Rival fans are in a bad place right now. Florida State is a dumpster fire. Florida just hired the same G5 coach that they just fired. So there's not a whole lot good going on in their life. And so everybody knows misery loves company. So what they want to do is they want to drag you into stupid arguments. They want to drag you into ridiculous arguments that are going nowhere. Complete waste of time. We at work. I got work to do. I'm a manager. I got people I got to take care of. And he tried to drag me into an argument that Miami and Florida State are in the same boat because neither won the conference and neither won the natty. I don't have to tell you how ridiculous that is. If you're on this page, you're a Miami Hurricanes fan like me. You love the Canes. You follow them, live, die, bleed, orange and green, all that good stuff. I don't have to tell you how ridiculous of a concept that is that Miami and Florida State in the same boat. So I'm just telling all Canes fans, hey, be careful out here. They're trying to drag you into some foolery. Don't let them get you. Now, if you want to troll online because that's your thing, then do that. But don't let them drag you into nonsense. Welcome to another episode of Somebody Said Kane Show. I am Breeze, here talking everything Miami. Trying to do this every Wednesday night. That's going to be the goal. Do this every Wednesday night. When the season comes back around, the plan is going to be to do it every Sunday and Wednesday. Try and stay consistent with that. The page has been going up, man. My last episode did over 300 views. The video before that did over 600. That was the Darian Mensah film breakdown. A lot of people show love on that. Almost up to 200 subs. I've decided once I get to 305 subs, I got to give away something. When I get to 305 subs, I'm going to give away something. I'm probably going to cop something from Caneswear because if you're a Kane fan, if you're not copping from Caneswear, Dime Life, places like that that are really dedicated to putting out good apparel and gear, what is you doing? So I'll probably cop something from one of them and I'll do a giveaway. I don't know what it's going to look like, but once I hit 305 subs, I'm going to give some away because I just want to show my appreciation. I want to show that I appreciate everybody who's been coming on the page, hitting the like, hitting the subscribe, hitting the comments. A lot of good conversations going on in the comments, man. And I appreciate all of it because who am I for y'all to be coming to me to listen to my content? So I really just appreciate that. Title of the show was 25 season recap, and I'm going to do some team news and notes. I actually want to start with the news and notes because this is a slow time of year. And so a lot of Miami fans were looking for content. We're looking for things to talk about because there are no games being played. So my first news and notesy type of thing is Mario's going on a media tour, which I like. I like when Mario is out there and he's talking to people and he's having conversations. I really like when the interviewers do a good job of mixing up the questions. So he was on WQAM with Joe Rose yesterday. He was on with Kane's Insight and D Money. He was on Through the Smoke with Gabby Arrudia and David Lake. He went on the Eric McClain and Kelly Gramlich show. He was on the On 3 show with that one dude. I always forget that dude's name, man. JD Piquel. He was on the On 3 show with JD Piquel. Mario's doing something like a media tour, which I think is really cool because you get a lot of access from a guy who doesn't really like talking a whole lot. Now, he does a lot of repeating himself. If you listen to two Mario Cristobal interviews, about 50% of what he says is going to be the same thing. Maybe sometimes he switched the words up. But when they do a good job of asking different questions, you really get to hear different point of views from him which I think is always interesting. And there's a lot of stuff that you can take from it if you really, pay attention and dig through it. But, there's a lot of good content of Mario out there having conversations, talking about the season, talking about the Natty, talking about next year's team. So there's a lot of good content to go consume. I say go listen to all of them. I listen to them, especially if it's Mario, because again, you can't get enough access of the Canes, man. So I appreciate the fact that he's doing that, and also I appreciate all those people that are having Mario come on their show and then really get into some stuff with him. I imagine he might do Bussin' with the Boys. He's cool with them through Cam Ward. So keep your eyes out for Mario Cristobal doing interviews. Another news and notesy thing that's going on right now is postseason injuries and cleanup stuff that's taking place. So obviously, we just came off a long season. We played a lot of football, more football than Miami has ever played. Actually, we set a record by wins simply because we just played so many games and made a deep playoff run. When that happens, guys are playing hurt. Guys are playing through different injuries during the season. So after the season, they get little cleanup procedures done, and they have little things done that they were putting off. Where it's like, are you hurt or are you banged up? And if you're banged up and you need a procedure done, sometimes you'll just wait until the end of the season to get it taken care of. So there's some conversations, some rumors. I saw a picture last night, namely this one come out last night, which this was a really cool moment where the basketball team during the game or before the game had the football team come out. Mario gave a little speech. He had Mark Fletcher come up, kind of show him some love. Mark Fletcher did a speech as well. Adam Lichtenstein posted almost all of it on Twitter. If you want to go check it out, I thought it was pretty dope. But if you look over there in the corner on the far right side of this picture, in the hoodie is Samson Okunlola, and his arm is in a sling. So you haven't heard anything official about it. You haven't heard exactly what it is, but kind of just piecing the things together. He probably got something cleaned up. He probably was playing hurt through that playoff run. If you talk to guys who have been in similar situations, everybody's dealing with something at the end of a football season. Apparently, Samson was dealing with something that looks to either be elbow or shoulder related, I would imagine, because it's kind of holding that arm in place. I've been in a sling like that myself when I tore my collarbone, but that was a little bit different. So it's probably shoulders, probably elbows, probably just a little cleanup. I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't be worked up. Again, he'll probably be fine before fall camp, even if not coming back sometime during the spring. Samson has been in the program for multiple seasons now. He doesn't necessarily need the spring anyway because he understands everything that's expected of him. He was basically a part-time starter, in my opinion, being a six man, getting a lot of snaps last season. So Samson Okunlola is one person, as you can see in this image, who probably had a postseason cleanup surgery type situation. I'm hearing something about Merriweather, the O-line that came over from Georgia. Word is that he might be having a little procedure done as well. Again, until you hear something official, until you hear something that's really eye-popping or eye-opening, I wouldn't freak out about it. Like, don't trip about it. A lot of people did that when Francis Maui Noah had those cleanups done on his shoulders that off season. I want to say after his freshman year, he was fine by the time fall ball started. So don't freak out if you hear about a guy getting a procedure done until you hear something official and hear that a guy's going to miss legitimate time. This is that time of year to get the cleanup stuff done, especially for O linemen and guys in the trenches. Obviously, understanding the wear and tear that goes on those guys' body, because unlike receivers and quarterbacks and running backs, they're actually having physical impact every down. An offensive lineman doesn't get to take a play off in terms of physical impact. And so it's a lot of wear and tear on their bodies. And so after the season, you get a lot of cleanup stuff done. Clearly, Samson's got something. Maybe Merriweather's got something. I wouldn't freak out about it. Everything's going to be cool. Don't trip. Another news and nosy thing, and this is one that I actually picked up listening to one of Mario's interviews. They were asking him about Darian Mensah and asking him about how his leadership qualities are. And he kind of let out a little bit of info in the fact that Darian is already organizing throwing with the receivers, passing with the receivers. There was one interviewer who was trying to be a little messy, but he asked him, what about the chemistry between him and Cooper Barcade and how would that affect Malachi Tony? And Mario's like, man, they already building a chemistry. Somebody else made the comment, I think it was D Money who made the comment that when Darian Mensah visited Miami before he committed with Cooper Barcade, They went to dinner with Malachi Tony. So people gonna try and stir some of that stuff up, man. Don't really feed into that. But apparently Darian is already organizing passing opportunities. He's already working out with his receivers, building up that timing, building up that chemistry, which is going to be really big. You don't always need the spring, but it's a nice to have, right? Carson Beck didn't get the spring. He couldn't throw last spring, but Darian can. He's enrolled. Apparently, he's already doing that. You'll remember Cam Ward was talked about doing a lot of that kind of stuff, making sure that he was spending time with those receivers, making sure he kept those receivers accountable to be put in the work and then building that chemistry with him. My last little news and notes thing, this came from a homie of mine, said that Armando Blunt is up to 280 pounds. The reason I want to call that out is because there's a lot of conversation about where does Armando really land? Is he a DN? Is he a D tackle? I think he can be both at a pretty good level, but it has been a situation where they've kind of danced in between the two, and it needed to get to a point where he either gains a little bit of weight and goes to D tackle full time, or he trims down a little bit and go to defensive end full time. It's hard to really be explosive on that edge, down after down, carrying a little more weight, playing around, where he was playing. So it's either gain a little bit like Akeem Mesidor did coming into this season, or no, gain a little bit to really kick inside the tackle, or lose a little bit like Akeem Mesidor did to stay on that edge. So it's going to be interesting to watch kind of where he lands and where they play him. They've been doing that, switching back and forth, which I'm not a fan of. Hey, man, let that man stick at one spot, really hone in on his craft and go be as good as he can be. He's a 5-star talent, and I think he's got 5-star ability. So those are kind of the news and notesy things that I want to talk through about, some things that's going on right now. I think a date came out already too about when the spring ball is going to start. I believe it is March 16th or 18th or something of that nature. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Of when spring ball actually does get started, because obviously that's going to give us a whole lot more to talk about. There's things we can chat about now. We're going to review the season here in a second, but there's nothing like having activity going on between the team that you really, really can talk about. Winter workouts is one thing. There's a whole nother thing talking about spring ball. The other thing I want to do on tonight's show is I want to just do a recap on the season. 2025 was a little bit of a roller coaster for Miami fans. For those who don't know, if you're one of the newest, first of all, I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate everybody that comes in. Hit the like, please hit the subscribe. I'm a season ticket holder, but I don't live in Miami. I live in St. Pete, which if you're not familiar with the Florida landscape, St. Pete is about 4 hours away from Miami. So I'm very much invested in this team. My wife don't fully understand why is it that I am a season ticket holder for a team that's 4 hours away from where we live. But, it's a Canes thing. You wouldn't understand. That's really the only thing I can tell her. But the season was a little bit of a roller coaster. And obviously, as diehard fans, we kind of go as the team goes. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to review the 2025 season, but I want to break it up into its different segments, because I felt like at first we were on a thrill ride and everything was going great. And then we kind of bottomed out a little bit and things weren't going that great. And then they kind of pick up again. And then you really take off when the team kind of peaked during that playoff run. So I kind of wanted to revisit that experience, so to speak, talking about the team, talking about the results, and kind of what that was like being in that moment. And I think we'll all come out of this saying there's a whole lot more to be happy about than to be upset about. Yes, losing the Natty was frustrating. It was tough. It was, all the negative things you can say. But the season had a lot to enjoy. Starting at the top of the season, coming into the year, I picked us to beat Notre Dame and Florida. And a lot of people I thought were iffy on that. A lot of people outside of Miami looked at that and they were like, man, you got a lot of confidence playing Notre Dame. Well, going into that Notre Dame game, one, I wasn't afraid of CJ Carr. I knew what my defensive line was going to be, especially on that edge position. And so you're talking about a first-time starter, true starter, opening night on the road. Now, obviously, the casuals will tell you that playing at Miami is easy because nobody shows up. Well, again, as a season ticket holder for several years now, that's not the case for the big games. Now, when Louisville comes in on a Friday, sure. Or when Georgia Tech is there on a Friday, maybe. Right? A noon kickoff against Duke on a Saturday, probably. Notre Dame at home to open the season, the place was electric. The place was fired up, and I knew it was going to be that way. And I knew some things about the team, and I had some confidence, and I wasn't afraid of Notre Dame, flat out, man. And if you don't believe me, go back, go tune into Somebody Said sports show that I do every Monday night, talking everything football. When I did the Miami preview, because we do a off-season preview series for a bunch of programs, I picked Miami to beat Notre Dame. I said we go 11-1, and the one loss was not Notre Dame. So we get that big win. You get the crazy catch by CJ Daniels that'll go down in Miami history. You get the emergence of Malachi Tony scoring the very first touchdown of the season, true freshman. Not a lot of people saw that coming. You saw a defense be able to command the field for much of the game. Obviously, late in that game, Notre Dame gets back in it. Final score ends up being 27-24 after a walk-off field goal. That was a fun game to be at. Like, that game was super dope to be at. We had a blast. And obviously, we came out of that game feeling like, all right, the team got something. Whatever questions you may have had about the team in terms of the D tackle position, or you were unsure about the cornerback spot, or how would Carson Beck look in this new system, they looked good. Now, we only scored 27 points, but when you really go back and you rewatch that game, which I may do a rewatch series too from an all 22 perspective, and y'all can kind of see some of that with me, you saw that really we could have won that game by a lot more. So you come out of that game feeling really, really good. Next week, you get to beat up on Bethune-Cookman. My family, there are a lot of FAMU Rattlers in my family. So anytime I can see Bethune-Cookman take a L, sign me up for that. You get USF at home. I went to USF. I went to USF because it was free. Again, I'm from St. Pete. USF is 45 minutes away. I wanted to go to the University of Miami. I had offers to go to Miami. My mama said you can go, but who paying for it? So I didn't go to Miami. It's a private school. It's very expensive. I went to USF because I went for free. And in fact, at the time, my scholarship got me money back. They paid for my school and paid for my books, and I actually would get money back after the semester, not loans. I graduated with no loans. So it's hard to pass up on that. But USF comes down, and as I always tell people, yes, I cheer for USF unless they play in Miami. You play in Miami, I hope you lose. And we handle business. There was a lot of talk about Byron Brown, and last year that offense gave us fits in the first half, and I'm like, dog, that's not going down. And sure enough, we handle business from whistle to whistle. That game was never in doubt. Florida comes into town. And I remember the conversation about the Florida game being the spread. Why was the spread so close? I didn't understand it at the time. The spread did not show that there was a big gap between these teams. But if you really watch ball, Florida had already lost to USF. So it wasn't surprising to me that we took care of business against Florida. Florida wasn't like that. I still didn't understand why the spread was what it was. I want to say it was like less than a touchdown, maybe like 6.5 or something like that. I'd have to go back and really look it up. But I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, we're way better than Florida. Wasn't worried about that one at all. I was also at that game. Another fun game to go to again. Anytime you get a chance to see the Shamesville Gators get beat down, that's just an enjoyable experience, dog. Like, who don't want to see that? Right? Aside for the people in Shamesville. Then the season got a little funky. You get this weird bye after 4 games, which I'm cool with that. But you had bye game bye. And it was a little tricky to have that setup, right? Where, okay, cool, you're off a few emotional wins. You beat a couple in-state teams. Then you get this bye after 4 games, and then we're playing at Florida State. I also went to that game. Another really fun game to be at. I lost my voice at that game because I was giving the Florida State fans literally from the jump. Because that's what I do when I go to games, especially when I go to games at rival fan stadiums. I'm going to give it to you. That just is what it is. If you can handle it, then cool. If you can't, that's tough for you because, it's going to be what it's going to be, and you're not going to stop me from doing it. So I lost my voice by, I want to say, the third quarter. I was really giving it to Florida State fans, man. My cousins are Florida State fans. They're season ticket holders. I sat in their section. I kind of embarrassed them in front of the folks that they sit around. But, hey, man, tough cookies. That's what happens when you choose to be a Florida State fan. So we go up there, and on it, that game, too, was like the Notre Dame game, in my opinion, from the standpoint that the score doesn't really show how big of a difference that game was. If you remember watching that game, you remember us being up healthy. You remember us being up by a good little bit because we were just that much better than them. Like the game really was not a one score game. The final score was 28-22. I remember being a little annoyed by the fact that we were letting them kind of hang around, and I wasn't happy about that. But honestly, the game was never really in doubt. They tried to make a run late. They just didn't have the horses, man. Like they don't have the talent over there to really hang with us right now, and that's not really going to change. I'm expecting a bigger final score discrepancy next year when we play Florida State because I think the gap continues to get wider from a talent acquisition standpoint, and obviously their coaching situation is just a joke. Like I don't know how else to call it, man. It's kind of a joke. So then you get this other weird break, right? So you get bye. You in between the game is on the road. It's a rival game. So you get this bye to kind of take a break, catch your breath after 4 games, and you get this high of a rivalry game. Malachi Tony goes off in that game, including a touchdown, got called back. CJ Daniels gave us one of the best troll videos of Miami history when he does the tomahawk chop and the chant right into the camera after a touchdown. He did it twice, matter of fact. And man, that is one of the best trolls of all people who have played against Florida State, in my opinion, man. I'm gonna remember that one forever. I got that one saved in the phone, man. I pulled that one out. But that was a really good game and a lot of fun, though the team was a little frustrated afterwards because they did let up. So you get this high, you get the bye, you get this high of a rivalry game, and then you get another bye, which was really, really funky. And the ACC, man, is just a joke. Not sure why they would give us that. And then you come out of that bye and you have a Friday night game at home, yeah, but a Friday night game against Louisville. And this is where we get the downturn of the season. This is where you get the other side of the season where it's like, hey man, like, are we about to waste another year? Like, I remember talking to my homies and I'm like, bro, we're about to waste another season. Like, this is another year just wasted. We are 10-2 again, not gonna make the ACC championship, not gonna make the playoff. And we just wasted another super talented roster. Multiple first round picks on the roster. We lose to Louisville at home 24-21. What people don't remember about that game and that Louisville team, Brom, the head coach of Louisville, is a coach that I am always fearful of because he will do stuff like what he did against us. They ran a scheme they had never run before and did not run again the rest of the season. Literally, he had a scheme cooked up just for Miami, and they executed it flawlessly. You got to give them credit. Now, we did some stuff too to shoot ourselves in the foot. Carson throws 4 picks. Really, he could have threw 5, 6 picks. They dropped a couple of them, if we're being honest. Tackling wasn't great. Chris Bell, the wide receiver for Louisville, goes off. He gets hurt a couple of weeks after that, misses the rest of the season. Isaac Brown, the running back who's from Miami, he had been dealing with injuries all year. He's healthy for that game, and he misses multiple games after that because, of course, everybody's healthy when it's time to play Miami. He has himself a really good game. He was the only running back I thought who really gave us problems throughout the year. Every other running back we really held in check for the most part. So you get the loss of the Louisville game. You get the weird Stanford game in the middle of that, which I'm going to be honest, I hardly even remember. I gave away my tickets. I said I'm not going down there to watch that. I was also still mad about the week before losing Louisville, which that game I did go to. And then you go on the road to SMU and you lose to SMU. And that's when it really hits that like, dog, we about to waste another season, man. And you're feeling the low of the roller coaster. You're feeling the part that you don't like. You know, if you're not a person that likes roller coasters, there's a piece of it that you just don't like. And you're like, man, I just got to get through this piece, you know, especially if it's that first big drop. You get through that, you cool, but going through that stinks. And in hindsight, we just needed to get through it. In the moment, bro, it felt terrible. In the moment, I'm like, oh, I cannot believe Mario's pulling this again. You come out of the SMU loss and you like, hey, what is the season going to be now? What happens after this? Well, thankfully, the team got their act together. They would finish out in the last 4 games As you can see, never giving up more than 17 points. Really, that 17 was a little fluky in itself. We blow the doors off Syracuse at home. Always a good time beating up on Francis Brown from New Jersey. He like to act like he's from New York. He's from Jersey. You're not a New Yorker, bro. You're from Jersey. Relax, Francis. You're a grown man named Francis, bro. Nobody's afraid of you. You like to act like he's some tough guy. Like, dog, your name is Francis. You're from Jersey. Beat the doors off Francis from Syracuse. We get NC State at home. People are like, oh, CJ Bailey's coming home. He's gonna go off. That whole Miami kid playing in Miami. Felt like he got disrespected in his recruitment. Yeah, sure, dog. 41-7. Like 41-7, man. Like nobody's going for that. The team was locked in at that point. You get a little bit of flukiness in the Virginia Tech game, but ultimately they handle business. Kind of padded the stats a little bit at the end there, right? Mario was really letting them boys get style points. And then by his own admission, a couple of things, he said that they had to go out there and just have fun again. They had been playing a style of offense that allowed teams to stay in the game. They were shortening the game, slow, plodding offense. And then after that second loss, where we needed style points, Mario let him cut it loose, which is the other thing he said. He let him just cut it loose, man. And you saw what happened after that. Now we go from putting up 20-ish points a game, right? Except for the USF game and the Bethune-Cookman game, Notre Dame 27, Florida 26, Florida State 28. Now all of a sudden you're scoring in the 30s and 40s consistently, right? Against P4 competition. That's because a mentality change took place. A hunger and a desperation kicked in, and Mario let them boys cut it loose. It felt like he let Shannon Dawson cut it loose. And Dawson is an air raid guy. Dawson is about scoring in bunches and scoring fast. And we saw more of that, and the offense really took off from there. Carson was able to cut it loose. His arm was getting stronger as the year went along. We beat down on everybody. You go on the road at Pitt in late November. It's going to be a cold day. Miami don't play good in the cold. Blah, blah, blah. We know how that stuff goes. 38-7. Pitt was a ranked team with a chance to go play for the ACC championship, and we took them boys to the woodshed. Right? We gave them that belt. That told me that this team had that thing in them. They had that dog in them. They had that ability to go out there and really put their foot on somebody's neck, especially if you don't have the talent to really go toe to toe with this team. And so I was very, very happy to see the way they ended the season. But of course, like many folks, I was hesitant. I was cautiously optimistic. Actually, no, I wasn't optimistic at all. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I did not think they was gonna put us in that playoff. Flat out. I can't lie. I came on this pod, the Somebody Said Kane show, and I said that they are not putting Miami in. I was wrong. Love being wrong sometimes. Sometimes being wrong is the best thing that can happen to you. I was wrong, and they put us in there, and everybody was lacing their boots up. And shout out to Keely and Marion. We always gonna have that, Keely. We was lacing the boots up. And them boys made it into the playoff, man. And they went on an incredible run. Yes, the bottom of it is a red L. Yes, we coulda, shoulda won that game. I get it. I know. But man, you cannot say that that playoff run wasn't great. On the road at Texas A&M, dogfight against the Aggies, who have been a top 5 team all season. Go in there and really you bullied them up front. Swirling 30-mile-per-hour winds. We missed 3 field goal kicks. The game really should have been even worse than it was. You get that dub. Then you get a chance to exercise an old demon against Ohio State. Them boys are talking crazy. Caden McDonald was talking crazy, the D tackle. Jeremiah Smith said, we got something for them boys on New Year's Day. The left tackle is talking about, we wasn't going to be much of an issue on that DN spot. Man, we went out there to the Cotton Bowl and we handled business against Ohio State. That's another game I felt like we could have won by even more. I actually got a chance to go to that game out there in Dallas. Super dope experience. Got to enjoy with some of my closest homies. Had a blast out there in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl, man. It was a joy seeing them boys beat a team like Ohio State, man, who has been one of the cream of the crop programs. for the last decade or so. So getting that win not only exercised them 0-2 demons, but really it showed that it's not just fluky. We can beat up not just ACC teams. We can go on the road and beat an SEC team, and we can beat an Ohio State team. That said a lot, and I thought it did a lot for the psyche of the team and probably for Mario too to be able to get over those kind of humps. You get to then go to Ole Miss. Now, people forget, man, we went on the road 3 straight weeks in these playoffs. Little annoying to know that if we would have beat Louisville or SMU, we actually could have been at home for 3 of the 4 playoff games on the road to a natty. Could have had a first round game at home. Could have then played in the Orange Bowl. You would have went on the road for the third game, and then you would have been back in Miami for the natty. So kind of annoying to see that play out the way it did, but whatever. Team goes out there to Glendale, Arizona. I got a dope hat out of that one. Handle business against Ole Miss, an exciting game, right? A battle. We give up the big run, the Keywan Lacey. We give up the touchdown late. Carson puts together an incredible drive. Him, Marty Brown, and Keelan Marion really carried the team up the field to go down there and get a game-winning touchdown in dramatic fashion. Able to hold off on a last-second push by Ole Miss to get a dub, and now we're back in the natty. We're back at home, back at the Rock, the away team, oddly enough, but a chance to play for a national championship in Miami again, which a lot of people don't realize. 3 of our national championships have come in Miami. The 3 of our national championships were won at the Orange Bowl. So it would have been dope to get another one back at home, because who knows the next time we'll get a chance to play for a natty at home. We all know how that one ends. Obviously, your season ends on a low. But man, when you think back, when you pause for a second, and Mario talked about this, when you pause for a second and you look back at what that season meant for this team, for this fan base, for recruiting, for the investors. If you're part of Canes Connection and you donate money, if you are part of the school donation program, if you're a season ticket holder, that's the kind of stuff you're paying for. You're paying for seasons like that. You're not going to win a natty every year. That's not realistic. If you felt like that was our year to do it, it didn't happen. But you're paying to be competitive. You're paying to be able to compete for a natty. So if you spend your good hard-earned money, and I know y'all do, anybody listening to this show, I know you spend hard-earned money. You just like me. You probably work a day job just like I do. And you choose to spend some of that money on the Miami Hurricanes, and especially that football program. That's what your money's for. Your money is to see that team compete like that at the highest levels, and we finally got a chance to see it again. Yes, losing the natty sucked, but dog, you gotta be happy about that. You gotta be happy about the fact we are back competing for national championships. Team ain't back. The U's not back. Even, even Mario said it himself, but we're here. And that's what you spend your money for. That's what you want to see as a Canes fan. You love to see a natty, of course, but you spend your money to see a competitive Miami Hurricanes team, and that's what we got in 25, dog. So you really can't be that mad about it. You really can't be too upset when you really take a step back and you think about what that season was, man, and how it ended up, especially from where it was at the middle of it. Dog, you got to be happy about how that season went. Man, went a little long. I try to get these done within 30 minutes, try to keep it to a half hour. Went a little long on that one. The news and notes was a little more than I expected it to be. But as always, I appreciate every single person that tunes into this show. I appreciate every single like, every single sub, every single comment. I do my best to respond to every comment because, again, the fact that y'all choose to consume content that I'm putting out, means a lot to me because you don't have to. You can go spend your time watching and viewing other stuff and comment on other people's stuff. So choosing to do it on mine means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. Please keep hitting that like. Please keep hitting that subscribe. Like I said, when I get to 305 subs, I'm giving something away. I don't know what it is. I'm going to cop something from Caneswear, Dime Life. I don't know. Maybe somebody get word to them, and maybe they donate something for me to give away. I don't have no sponsors over here. This is all me. This is all out of pocket. Maybe them boys shoot me a little something to shoot out to the fans, man. But appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, y'all know what it is, man. Let's go Canes over here. I'm going to catch y'all next week.